why the riba is prohibited in the different religions of the world. First of all, the first reason is that there is an unequal risk sharing, that is one-sided benefit. Let's say, for example, if one borrower is getting the money from the lender, so only borrower is sharing the risk. Lender is not having any kind of risk. Why? Because he has to get fixed or maybe variable returns, but the returns are insured. So, but on the other way around, if the borrower is not making money or not making profit, so he or she has to pay the interest principal plus the interest amount, which is basically an example of unequal risk sharing. So there is no risk sharing in riba-based financial transaction, whereas in Islamic banking and finance or in Sharia finance, there is a risk sharing element over there. Then the second one is exploitation of people in need. Let's say, for example, I am a poor person and I am in need of need to have a medical, you can say, expenses, but I am not having the money. So what I have to do, I have to get the loan. I have to seek the loan from someone, and if he or she is agreed to pay me the loan along with the riba, so that is again the exploitation of the people in need. Let's say, for example, I am in need to get a medical treatment, but I'm not having the money. So what I am doing, I am seeking the money from the lender who is borrowing, who is basically providing the money to the borrower, mean to say me, on interest. So that is the exploitation of the people in need. So it leads to the wealth concentration as well. For example, if I'm having the money and I am lending it to a needy person, so in an interest-based system, money flows from borrower, usually the poor or middle class, to the lender, normally the banks or the financial institution or the wealthy people. So borrower become poorer due to the interest burden which they are seeking basically, and lender becomes richer without any kind of effort. He's having the money or she's having the money, she's or he's just lending the money, and they're not putting any effort, but they're getting the money. So basically, this is the concentration of the wealth. So this basically widen the wealth gap and destabilize society. Then money on money is unproductive. Let's say, for example, in what is happening basically in the Islamic finance industry, in the one side there is a money, but on the other side there is a product. So there is an economic activity by which the people are getting the employments, and they're earning the money, and then they're spending the money on some industries, and those industries are basically again flourishing or growing, stay at growing stage. So that is not that is money on money basically not create. There is no conformity that there would be a, you can say, economic activity. There may be an economic activity and there may not be an economic activity, but in Islamic finance the economic activity is ensured, otherwise you cannot make money on money. So very recent example of the financial crisis is there in front of us, that the interest based financial institutions collapse, and in USA, and the impact in globally basically. So what they were doing, they were making money with the money, which is not any productive activity, by the way. Then debt trap and the endless cycle. Yes, if let's say, for example, you are missing your due payments on the loan, principal plus you can say interest. So what there would be happening, there would be a compounding of interest, and you would be under the burden of endless, you can say, principal plus interest amount. Then it removes the compassion from the financial dealings. What does it mean basically? Religions, specifically Islam, encourage the you can say benevolence, and Islam and the religions always you can say lesson that you should help the needy people. Then Islam basically encourage the fairness and the mutually beneficial transactions, whereas riba based you can say financial transaction replaces these values with guaranteed profit. Lender is getting the guaranteed profit from the borrower. On the other way around, there is a pressure. Let's say, for example, if the borrower having some losses, so borrower would be having some pressure on it, on him or her, and then hard heartedness as well, and then the exploitation, as we have discussed in the previous slides as well. Then create instability in the economy. If let's say, for example, there would be an imbalance between the lender and the borrower. Why? Because the lender is getting the guaranteed profit or guaranteed return, whereas borrower is not getting the guaranteed profit or the returns rather. He or she is bearing all the risks pertaining to that particular financial activity. If there would be a loss, so they would be under more pressure. So that will basically create imbalance or instability in the economy. And on the other way around, the financial instruments basically creating instability in the economy. As we have seen in the very recent financial crisis, we cannot say that very recent, but those are recent. Those are the latest one in 2008 and 9.